Well, great afternoon. I pulled some cards. I wanted to look and see because I had heard that the Idaho 4 murderer, the father had come and drove back with him to their home. He was arrested at the family home, and I wanted to see, did the parents know? Now, what they said, what I heard was this was really odd. What parent would say, well, it's out of character for him? Out of character? That's an odd thing to say. But that's what's purported that was said. It's out of character. So I went to pull the cards. Now the cards are really interesting. The overview of it is the strength, the kind of, we have the obstructions here, the mountains, the strength of this. So what is it that they're thinking? Okay, what is the strength of this? So it's really what I got. You're not going to believe this. Maybe because of the emotions, we've got these toxic emotions. It's like the what do they call it? The something war, the jellyfish that can sting and can kill you. Okay. Oh, man of war. Isn't it called man of war? So maybe with the emotional health, his emotional health, they see him as broken. Okay? They know that there is something wrong with him. They may have had fights before, but it looks like they are stuck. Of course, they don't want to believe it, but we've got the lay of the land, ancestral wisdom, and oneness. So I would say perhaps, they do have the DNA, and that's one reason they caught him. Ancestral stuff. Also could be maybe there is some mental illness or something within the family history. That could be also a very possible factor. We'll have to wait and see. But pulling the cards, but I think all of that was well, maybe it's out of character, but yeah, they know something is wrong with him. Because you get the card of broken. He's broken. He doesn't have normal relationships. So at the center of it, this has come up a lot lately today, the path forward. Where are they walking? What are the choices they're making? This guy is like walking off the cliff, the fool. Now, the foundation of it is the wheel is turning, the karma card, but above it, it's something they don't want to believe. They don't want to take this in. Who wants to believe that their child is a murderer like that? It's saying, well, maybe, but I really don't want to believe this. It's out of character. They're trying to spin it, but going into it is interesting. What we have here is 2 major arcana cards. Okay. This, the magician making it happen, some sort of dark elements, being kind of tied to some things. So this is not positive going in. Okay. Looking at that, that's a recipe for disaster right there. Now the challenge is working on coming to some sort of a victory. in their mind. Maybe it's either acceptance or, knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt what's happened. So let's look and see what's underneath of it. Now, in this case, I would think maybe there's been some drug use or some alcohol, something involved somewhere, either in the family or with him. But when I see it, it's not that they're celebrating this. This is definitely not it. But usually this would have, maybe they're kind of a party type person. Or, again, drinking, drugs, something of that nature. They're looking at this going forward, trying to contemplate it, not actually moving, but sitting with this of what is going to come next. Of course, they're having nightmare scenarios about it, okay? And they're watching the strength of this action being taken, okay? They're looking at possibly, usually this has to do with participation in kind of, it can be dark money deals, but I would say this has to do with maybe his participation in wanting to be in the criminal mind, the darker elements, this type of thing. They're looking at the stability of home, where he lives, his psychological thing. This for me is the subconscious. What rules him, subconscious, mentally. The subconscious is ruling his action, okay? And where is the stability or non-stability when it comes to these deaths, this retreat? Could be his retreat into this subconscious, which drives him, which caused these murders. Could be that. But of course, this is something they don't want to deal with, okay? Not something that they're wanting to deal with. And who would want to deal with something like this? You find out your child is a killer, okay? But this is coming down the pike, and it is something they are going to have to deal with. They're trying to ignore it. They've got the actions there, the emotions, sitting on the emotions, the actions here, and this stuff is coming, and it's not going to go away. We have this that is moving forward rapidly. And again, he's not going anywhere. He is stuck. He's overturned. They would rather see this from a different element, of course, but they're going to have to deal with it when it comes to the actions that happened and a light being shed on this. And, of course, this is a burden. When you have a son that's taken a knife and killed people. So we are feeling loss. Feeling lost at this moment and being tied up mentally, okay? So I think that says it all. They are looking at this and, well, maybe they know there's something wrong with him. They've, seen his interactions with others, that he doesn't have the capability to make good, strong relationships. They could see, I'm sure, his frustration growing up. Could have had fights with some things with him. He may have had some explosive temper at some point, and they are stuck. Because, again, they know he's broken. I think they're worried about his health, his mental health, and the emotional stability or lack thereof. So I think that reading was interesting and quite viable about what is going on. Of course, they would be stuck. They would want to fight with this. He may have fought. They may want to fight with this, not wanting to take it in, being blocked, not wanting to see it. But they know going into it that he had this fascination with darker elements. Okay? That's undeniable. And now they have to deal with the strength of the information coming out, and he can be in denial and think, he thought he was so smart that he would get away with it. He thought he had it all planned out. But DNA does not lie. Okay? DNA does not lie. So, and this narcissistic persona will always play the victim, will be the abuser, and then will always play the victim, okay? And will be able to convince themselves of an alternative reality, okay? But I don't think his parents will be so pulled into that. They could say, well, it's out of character for him. But I mean, who would that be normal character for? Who goes around killing a bunch of people? I mean, it's like, it's out of character. It hasn't happened before. Well, it's not something normal people will do, okay? Out of character, okay? So I just thought when I heard that was so odd that it's out of character for him. So anyway, I'm going to leave this here, and we'll have to see what comes out. But I think that reading was very explicit as to what's going on with them. Again, they're trying to come to some sort of a working on some sort of a victory, some sort of a coming to a conclusion, some sort of something that makes sense for them. That's the challenge. Because, again, if you're a parent who wants to believe that their child is a killer, okay? So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you online.